And the meeting, we are aiming to help you understand the CAT4 assessment and reports. We know it's a little bit daunting. We know there's a lot of information there. So we're just trying to help you resolve and understand anything about the CAT report which you have received from us. Just admitting a few final people in, so just a few seconds longer just to let them come in. The meeting is going to be we're already a few minutes in. We're going to close the meeting down at 3:23 in order that we can be ready for the next meeting. We've got another meeting immediately afterwards about CAT4 again with the next set of grades. So we're going to give you a quick introduction to understanding the CAT4 assessment and reports, and we're also going to provide opportunity for you to ask us questions. So the first thing that you need to know is, please type any questions into chat. We will spend some time at the end of the session answering your questions. However, if there are a lot of questions, we simply won't have enough time to cover them all. So at the end of the session, we'll try to address your questions. Any we do not answer, we will provide some information on Dojo. We will provide you with more information there or answers to your question. Raymond, next Sunday, did we say?
Next Sunday.
We're aiming to provide you with questions, frequently asked questions, and answers to them next Sunday. So anything we don't address today, we'll be doing our very best to address soon. We cannot talk about your individual son or daughter's progress, as that would break confidentiality rules. So we simply cannot talk about, can't identify pupils and talk about them. We're simply not allowed to do that. But again, if you ask your question, we'll try to answer it as best we can on Dojo shortly. Okay. What is CAT4, you may be thinking? CAT4 is the Cognitive Abilities Test 4th edition. So the CAT4 assesses a student's ability across 4 different reasoning batteries. You have verbal reasoning, quantitative reasoning, non-verbal reasoning, and spatial reasoning. Verbal reasoning, the idea is that is thinking with words. Quantitative reasoning, that's thinking with numbers. Non-verbal reasoning, thinking with shape. And spatial reasoning, thinking with shape and space. One thing we need you to be aware of is that this is an assessment of ability and not attainment. And here is the difference coming up. So in a cognitive abilities test, it requires no preparation. There was nothing that your children could have done in order to prepare for these assessments. These assessments take place every 2 years and have been mandated by ADEC. It assesses regardless of previous teaching and schooling. It gives an indication of the ability of a student to learn. It is used at the beginning of the academic year to ensure appropriate support and intervention is in place. Attainment testing, the difference. Attainment testing often requires revision and practice. It acknowledges skills and content knowledge that have been taught. It gives an indication of what has been learned, and it is used at the end of teaching modules to track progress and identify whether any skills and whether any gaps in knowledge or skills are present. So significant difference in the reasoning behind the testing. So what is CAT4 used for? Well, it identifies the academic potential. It helps us to understand how a student thinks. It's going to determine where further support may be necessary. It's going to highlight any possible barriers to learning. It will help us set targets, and it will provide feedback to us as teachers, to the students, and to you yourselves, the parents. Here are some examples of what the pupils will have done during the testing sequence. The verbal classification will give 3 words, and then the pupil will be asked to identify what is the logical word that would follow next. Here, the next logical word would be, angry. So we've got happy, sad, frightened. If you can see my cursor there, happy, sad, frightened. The options were tall, feel, think, new, angry. The next word that logically is sort of a synonym, if you like, of moods: happy, sad, frightened, angry. Verbal analogies. So cow and milk is obviously linked to cow. I think you can see where this one is going. Chicken. So the question, we've got to work out which of these words logically would fit in with chicken. And you've got feather, dinner, egg, hen, bird. And of course, cow milk, chicken, and the egg.
Which way around?
Number analogies. This one is going to ask them to work out sequences. It's going to ask them to work out just basically the way that, so obviously you've got 5, 4, 8, 7, so 3. The next logical number, the next in the sequence would be, of course, 2, as there's one difference between 5 and 4, 8 and 7, 3 become 3 and 2. And the series, number series. 5, 10, 15, 20. Next number, quite obviously, is going to be 25. The non-verbal reasoning. The non-verbal reasoning is, again, if we go back to the slides we had, I won't take you back to take too long. Non-verbal reasoning is the ability to think without words. So this is testing the pupil's ability, where language is then not going to get in the way of a pupil's thinking. It means that we're testing the ability of the pupil without language, if you like, removing language from the equation. So here they're going to get a series of images, symbols, pictures. Their job is to work out which one comes next. They are presented with 3 shapes, if you can see at the top next to the word figure, and they have to work out which shape will be next. And of course, it is E, semicircle, and that is the next logical sequence. So again, non-verbal reasoning, this helps us understand the pupil's ability if you take language out of the equation. Figure matrices. They have to choose the answer by clicking on the mouse. Again, very similar to the one we looked at just before. This one, they have to work out which is the next is going to be the image below the double arrow. So this one should be C, I hope it is, it's C. And then spatial reasoning. Here, they have to work out what is most logical, what will logically be next in the sequencing. I'm not sure as I can work that one out myself, to be quite honest with you.
So this time it's shape and space they're looking for.
Shape and spaces. Figure recognition. Again, shape and spaces is what they are looking for. And they have to work out which is the next of the logical. Sorry, I've just got people arriving in the meeting. They've got to work out which image would come next. Figure recognition. So, what is spatial reasoning? Well, it's the ability to generate, retain, and manipulate abstract spatial images. The strengths that we see in spatial thinkers are that they are able to see the bigger picture of things. They understand concepts better. They are innovative and they have greater creativity. So, students with good spatial reasoning ability have a high potential in subjects such as science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and the creative arts. These students are important for the future. These subjects are important for the future career prospects of our students. So by identifying how our pupils think, we can also guide them with careers as they progress through our school. They do have weaknesses as well. Weaknesses that we might see, everybody has strengths and weaknesses. So weaknesses that we might see in spatial thinkers, little attention to detail. They may have poor handwriting. They might be disorganized. Verbal reasoning. Verbal reasoning is the ability to think with words. The verbal reasoning battery is the only battery that is influenced by students' English language skills. Students who do not have English as a first language may find their verbal score to be lower than the other batteries. This is, of course, because they may not be exposed to speaking English so much. They may speak other languages, and that may make it more difficult for them to access language. As verbal reasoning can be influenced by schooling, students can improve their verbal score by improving their English language skills. There will be strategies suggested in your parent report that will guide you on how you can support your child with their verbal reasoning skills at home. Here, in this band, this is to help you understand the reports. So, the yellow band highlights where the average score lies. Here, this is an incredibly high attaining student. This student has scored above average in every battery. This tells us that this student is highly able across all 4 reasoning skills: verbal, quantitative, non-verbal, and spatial. The summary provides commentary on the results from the CAT4 assessment and gives some guidance about strategies you can use at home to support your child. So, Jessica's profile of scores from CAT4 shows she has a clear preference for learning by reading, writing, and talking about topics. But spatial skills will mean that she can learn effectively in a number of different ways. It will then give you some further information about the pupil. Here, Jessica may find that she gets ahead very quickly in some subjects and so needs extra work that allows her to do more research or read around a subject or follow her own interests. As some students may be reluctant to ask for this, do encourage Jessica to approach the teachers. Jessica will learn best when working step by step through a subject or task. Encourage Jessica to read widely outside of school. Reading from a range of different types of books will add to her knowledge and skills.